Hey, what's going on, YouTube? Today we're talking about a buff to a very old artifact and a preview of the new KVK. So a few videos ago, I was talking about the ancient tree roots. Not the most amazing exemplar you could ever get, but I was saying, hey, at least it has a use to it, because the exemplar gives you a bit of gathering speed after you use it. While it's not amazing, you can put this on your best gatherers, send them into the Alliance Resource Center, right? I use the two new gatherers because they both have the 10% bonus. Not amazing, but something worthwhile. And since then, they've actually buffed the ancient tree roots, and it's pretty impressive here. So before the ancient tree roots, when you use it, it would teleport you to a random node, and you just do whatever. Now you get to choose the node you go to, right? You charge it up, and you can see these little green arrows here. This is anywhere I can go. And the great thing about this is the range on this is amazing. All right. So this is my city right here, and our Alliance Resource Center is over here somewhere, right there. So pretty far away, right? And the other thing is it's across a river. So in my home kingdom, I have to march down here to the bridge, march over this bridge, and go over here. It's like an 8 or 9 minute march. Not a big deal, but a little annoying. And so I'm like, hey, can I use the ancient tree roots, to instant teleport there? And check it out. Yeah, it reaches all the way here, right? And just as a point of example, right, here's my city. Let's check the river here, and we'll check this plateau, and I'll show you how far it goes, right? So you trigger it up, it goes across the river, it goes up the plateau, and you can see the sort of the end of the change in color here. That's the end of its range. Now, if I try to zoom out, it'll lose the effect so you can't see it. But it's right about here from my city to like right around this area. Now, look, you can use this to jump into a resource node if you want. I mean, okay, great. Like I said, in my home kingdom, what I'm using it for is just to jump to the Alliance Resource Center, which is not conveniently located to my town hall. But obviously, there's another use to this too, right? And it's during wartime. You can use this to jump across key, choke points, rivers, elevation changes or whatever to get a unit into an area that you wouldn't otherwise be able to get to. Now, like I said, the range is good on this. It's not like map wide. You're going to have to get at least a little bit close, but it is a way to get across like key choke points, even a couple key choke points through an otherwise artifact that you wouldn't use before. Okay, so you have a unit, you use this to jump across an area. What good is that? Well, there's an obvious answer to that. You probably figured it out, but you use that unit as a target for your Staff of the Prophet, right? Now there are other ways to get units with Staff of the Prophet across. You could always use things like storm arrows. You could always unchange a behemoth, but I think this is a pretty effective way. Now I have this, like I said, right on my gatherers, but there's no reason it has to be on your gatherers. So, for example, you can put it on a Cav Legion, and in particular, you can put it on a Nea Legion. So we'll try it out here. Just go ahead and find it. Where are we at? There we are. I come out here and look, it's camouflage, right? So it's not invisible, but if they're zoned out, if the enemy's zoomed out, they're not gonna be able to see it. I'm gonna go ahead and activate this. I'm gonna jump across a couple key, resource nodes here. You see it takes a few seconds to charge up and use here. And boom, they're in. I have a camouflage unit, theoretically like deep into enemy territories, past their defenses. All right, so this is one of the, another one in the long list of artifacts in which its primary use isn't that amazing, but it has a very nice secondary use that makes it very important, very useful in your KVKs. A nice buff to this old artifact, and now I don't feel so bad having it. All right, you can see we're not too far from our KVK here. About a day before Brink of War begins, about a day before we know the KVK we're placed in, who the other servers in the KVK are. And you can see we only got one choice here, Rise of the Dragon. So of course everyone, chose this. A lot of realms. It's good to have a lot of realms here, but I gotta tell you, Rise of the Dragon, it's one of my least favorite KVK scenarios out there. Okay, so this is the season with the Nien mechanic. You get Nien either by doing daily quests. You can also get some by defeating like the Darkling Fort areas. You also get some by getting, purchasing the seasonal bundle. I don't really love that, but it is what it is. As you get yen, you sort of level up your seasonal talents. Um, this is the season in which approximately 372 times you're going to ask yourself, hey, why can't I move my legion? And the answer is going to be is because you've been trapped in a dimensional duel. Um, Really one of the more annoying mechanics out there. So hey, get ready for it because it's going to be very frustrating. God knows I'm going to do it to players myself, but it is what it is. Okay, so let's go over the seasonal policies here. We've done this before, but just very quickly. Scout haste, it's march speed, but it's only your scout march speed. You have to get this to level 8 to sort of unlock everything else to the maximum level here. Once you get this to level 8, you can leave it until the end, the last couple levels. Make sure you get Spirit Speaker up as quickly as you can because your daily quests, you obviously do this once a day and you'll get more yen once you have this maxed out. Other things here pretty standard, and these are not choose ones, you get all three, right? It's very nice that we get the warrants pretty early. I do like this here. Our first choice here is Spiritual Surplus or Spiritual Surge. This is just, do you want max energy or recovery speed? I think main accounts want recovery speed here. Standard, healthcare reforms, medical administration choices here, nothing changed there. Our third level, do we want the cooldown of Raise of Remedy? That sort of is the major attribute you want this season. Raise of Remedy, it basically heals your unit while, if they have a break from combat, so it allows them to stay out much longer, very powerful. I think most accounts will want Raise of Remedy. Fighting Phantasm, it's sort of good for your altar farm accounts. There is a way to sort of like farm the phantasms. I did a video about that before. Nothing too amazing. Then we got a dimensional duel, which everyone will take, and which you will be trapped in so many times and hate your life, but it is what it is. Also, temporal trap can be good for sort of like tank accounts to block areas. The last level is the timeless treasury. This allows you to get merit shop, so you can get a lot of you can get value from a lot of merits this season. I think most accounts here do want this one to get the Raise of Remedy cooldown because Raise of Remedy is super strong. Okay, nothing too exciting here. We got better rallies, better garrisons. Once again, I think it's pretty standard here. Most accounts want diligence simply for the stamina bonus. Okay, as we go on, nothing big and nothing surprising here. Military expansion, and then we got the buried bones. The next level here, this is not a choose one like last season where you choose either counter infantry or counter cav. You get all of these, and they all increase, the attack of that relevant unit. You'll eventually max these all out. Okay, medical supplies or medical recruitment. Do you want elixir production or daily resource healing? I think most people want the elixir production. And then, of course, we have the standard choice here. Most people want the percentage base, which is healthcare reforms, and on the bottom, medical seminars. Okay, our last policy here is Oath of Glory. This is the stronger version of Bitter End, giving you even more of an incentive to enable it. I basically, I have Bitter End going most of the time, right up until the point where the season's decided, then I might basically turn it off. Now that it's even stronger, I'm definitely going to use it. And really the reason is, you get the vast majority of your troops back, both through the Buried Bones mechanic as well as the, the glorious return at the end of the season. You might have to spend some gems to get your troops back. And if you're a very strong account, you might have to buy a pack or two. But if you're a very strong account, you're probably buying those packs already. And, you'll get a lot of gems during the course of the season. So I think most players will have Oath of Glory, enabled most of the time. And I do think that is the right call. Okay, so a few last tips just before we go into the new season. So in a few days, your VIP store is going to reset. When it resets, do not buy the CP recovery. Wait until you enter the KVK, because if you buy it ahead of time, the CP recovery will be wiped out when you enter the KVK. And you need that early on to help clear those darkness. Okay, second thing, your Goblin Market, it's going to reset at the weekly reset, but then it will reset again when you enter your KVK. So buy anything you care about in the Goblin Market, like for example, the Forge Keys, and then you'll be able to buy them again when you enter your KVK. Okay, third tip, the merit store. First of all, your merits don't go away anymore when you enter the KVK. The counter towards like 12 million seasonal merits, that starts at 0. But any merits you have in your home kingdom, you'll still have them as currency, you can spend them. Any elixir you have stored is going to go away once you enter your KVK. There's nothing you can really do about that. The third thing about this is your PvP store, your merit store, is going to reset when you enter your KVK. All right, so you can see my merit store now. I don't have enough merits right now to buy that Blood Roar. You can bet I'm going to be playing Battle Abyss when I get the chance because I want to buy these now before I enter my KVK so that when, so I can get them, they'll go away. And then when I enter the KVK, it'll reset with a fresh new merit store. Maybe do an extra couple Battle Abyss runs this week just to build up your merits or do merit training or whatever, because this is going to reset. Now, there's no need to buy the elixir right now, but buy anything else you want from the merit store, like a good pet skill or some blueprints or what have you. Okay, so here's the final tip. In your scout sentry post, you want to enter the KVK basically with this maxed out. Now, this is a farm account, so it's not quite maxed out. The normal max is 50 events, okay? The thing is, these events, these like Darkling events, they give you prestige when you clear them. Now, I'm in Home Kingdom right now, so there's no prestige. But if you clear these in the KVK, they give you prestige. Now, clearing like these guys, that will cost me command points. So, okay, I get prestige, but it costs me command points. But if you clear the ones with the checks on them, that's sort of like the pre-cleared ones, those don't cost any command points, but they do give you prestige. These mining events like cost neither command points nor give you prestige. And so basically what you want to have is as many of these encounters with the green checks marks on them as possible. And also this thing maxed out. So in the few days before the KVK, what you want to do is clear out all your mining events. Clear out all these ones that cost you command points, but leave all these ones like this guy here and this guy that are already pre-cleared, so that as soon as you enter the KVK, you can pre-clear them, get some prestige from them, but it doesn't cost you any command points. All right, hey, that's all I got for you today. And until next time, you stay classy, Bell around.